Hey guys, it's Stephanie from Magnolia Stripes, and today I'm so excited to show you guys a video series that I've been wanting to do for a while. We're going to call it Magnolia in the Kitchen, and I'm going to be inviting some of my friends over to share their favorite dinner party recipes and a couple of tricks. So today I have my friend Sarah Lloyd from This American House on. Hey,
Hi guys.
Lloyd.
Hey, Steph.
And today you are going to show us how to make something that I personally have been super intimidated to try.
So it's a pumpkin roll, and this is something that looks really impressive. You guys, I'm not a huge baker, I'm not a cook, so if I can do it, you can too. It's a lot simpler than you think, but it will kind of knock the socks off your friends at the end of it.
Perfect, those are the best recipes. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients here. Where should we start?
Okay, so we're gonna break it into a couple sections here where we have mixing up the dry ingredients and the wet ones, and then a little later on, we'll get to the icing. That's pretty delicious too.
Ooh, sounds good.
So wait, before we begin, we have to remember our favorite ingredient.
Oh, of course.
Duh.
Cheers, you guys.
Cheers.
Holiday spirits.
Love those glasses. Okay, so we'll start with our dry ingredients. I have a 3/4 of a cup of flour.
Perfect. And then we're adding
The cinnamon. Yep, so half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
all right.
Half a teaspoon of cloves. Half a teaspoon of baking soda, and then the baking powder too.
Okay, another half teaspoon, right?
Yep, half teaspoon of all those.
Awesome.
And then a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt.
Okay,
Thanks, Steph.
you're welcome.
Yep, so just mix these together. And now you kind of have your dry ingredients. So easy, right? So now I'll move over to
Super
the
easy.
wet ones.
Okay.
Now, I will say, a lot of times with recipes, I don't quite understand why they tell you to mix some things together and then mix it all together later in different stages. Honestly, I usually ignore it. Not the best at following directions. However, for this one, I do it by the book, or try to at least. I think it makes a difference.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. So here are our wet ingredients. I will say we're putting the dry sugar in there too. We have a cup of sugar.
Never understood that.
Whatever, it works. I will say it makes it kind of interesting, like sludge, for lack of a better word, when you put the eggs with it, right?
A word. We'll go with
It's
it.
a word now.
So then 3 eggs.
So 3 eggs, and then just take your hand beater,
Okay.
mix them together, make a huge mess in Steph's kitchen, so everyone wants. So now you got your sludge going.
Okay.
And then from that, you take your pumpkin. Obviously the most crucial ingredient in a pumpkin roll, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so...
And then how much pumpkin do you add?
So that's a good question, because actually the recipe calls for a cup, and I guess when I first started doing this, I didn't really realize the difference in a cup and a 15-ounce can. So I kind of say the more pumpkin, the better.
Yeah, I agree. You can't go wrong with
You
that.
can't. And the more you have, the more moist your bread will actually be at the end of it. So it works pretty well.
That's true.
Where I've kind of landed to be the perfect amount is 3/4 of the cup. So if you have a 15-ounce can of pumpkin, about 3/4 of that will be perfect.
Okay.
That can be any brand, store brand, whatever it is. It all works.
And I will take that.
Thank you. All right. Whew. This thing is great.
I know, that looks terrific.
A little powder. All right. So mix that all together. Thanks. And if you want to start helping me put the dry in there too.
Sure.
Maybe go flying. We'll see.
Great. This is the fun part of cooking, right? And this seems like would be a great recipe with the holidays coming up. We've got Thanksgiving and all of the holiday parties and things like that you need hostess gifts for.
Definitely. It is. I say, while pumpkin is probably more of a Thanksgiving item. Whoopsie.
I still love it all year round.
I got it. I don't got it. Guys, this is live TV. Things happen. Live.
So if your mixer goes out, this is why you always have plenty of wooden spoons on hand.
Hey, it works. Honestly, now that I'm realizing this, wooden spoon works pretty much just as well. I was just trying to be too high tech with that mixer.
Okay, great. So now we have this sheet that I see is greased underneath and also greased on top with wax paper and a little bit of flour.
Yep, so you put the flour in there. I think that essentially helps make a barrier.
Okay, and you leave some space on the wax paper.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Steph, because I'll show you this a little bit later on when we do the flip. But you want to leave a little bit of the wax paper so that not enough that it folds over and kind of gets into your bread, and not enough that it potentially gets crispy on the edge itself, but enough so that later on you can fold it over, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Oh, very
All right.
exciting.
So at this point, you just dump all your ingredients in here. Can't go wrong with how to do it.
Perfect.
All right. All that goodness. And this is what I call the shimmy. You kind of shimmy it across, try to spread it out as much as you can to get as much of the pan as you can. I'll say, so this pan is, I think, about a 12 by 9, is that right?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you what size. Okay.
And that's actually the size pan the recipe calls for.
Okay.
Often I use a jelly pan that's a little bigger, like a 17 by 12, I think.
What is a jelly pan?
I have no idea. But that is what we in Mississippi call these pans. I'm afraid that it might be because in the 60s, folks like made gelatin items in it.
Oh, that sounds fair. I can kind of see that.
I think pumpkin is a little better, maybe.
I am a big fan of this.
So essentially just make sure you're spreading it out across. Make it pretty smooth. It doesn't matter because at the end of this, it'll all be on the inside. But make it even as much as you can.
Gorgeous.
And make sure that you're just not seeing any of the pan underneath. And again, with the bigger pan, it'll be a little thinner. That's totally fine.
Okay. And then this goes into the oven at what temperature?
Goes at 375 for about 13 minutes.
Okay.
And the great thing too on this is once you are finished and you bring it out, you can do the toothpick trick. But I honestly, since it's so thin, just like touch your finger to it, see if it kind of bounces back. If it's spongy,
perfect.
You're golden.
Awesome.
All right, so we'll put it in the oven.
And then we have a little bit of TV magic here, you guys, because we always need some of that. And I understand that the beauty of this is all in the flip. So this is a very technique-heavy recipe.
It is. So now you'll see it is pretty good looking.
Ooh.
And like I said, just make sure spongy and good.
That looks delicious. Can we just eat that?
You could, and actually if it messes up in the flip, we very well might be.
Yeah.
So what you're doing, Steph has here just the perfect kind of towel, and didn't even tell her to have this kind, but it's perfect. You can use any kind of dish towel, more absorbent, plush one works well, but I personally prefer these thin ones.
Okay.
And then, so do we want to make the towel ready or the icing?
We can make the icing.
Okay,
let's kind of grab the towel so we have
it works.
Clean up.
So while that's baking for your 13 minutes, you want to get your icing going.
Okay.
So Steph, you want to hand me the butter?
Sure. And this is 6 tablespoons?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
6 tablespoons, and we've already nuked it for a minute here to make sure that it's soft.
Okay, perfect.
I also, similar to the pumpkin, don't think you can go with too much butter. So 8 tablespoons won't kill you probably.
Yeah. Okay, and then 8 ounces of cream cheese, right?
Good old block with cream cheese. All of the best
it.
recipes, especially southern ones.
Yeah, that's
have
true.
cheese.
You have to have it. It's a great icing. And this seems like one that you could also use for different recipes too, not just for the pumpkin roll. Is that right?
Such a good point. It is a recipe that, I mean, this is just simple icing, you guys. If you're buying it out of the can, you are doing it wrong. It is really easy to make this.
Really simple.
You can put it on cinnamon rolls, on muffins, whatever. All right, so we got a cup of powdered sugar.
Okay. Cup of powdered sugar, and then
the final,
the vanilla. So what is this, like a 1 tablespoon?
Yeah, that's 1 teaspoon.
Okay.
Of vanilla.
Perfect. And now tell us a little bit about how you started this American house.
Hold on, guys. You gotta hold on for this. Amazing TV magic fixes the blender.
I love it. So you started it as sort of an outlet for your job in politics, right?
Exactly. So surprise, we live in Washington, in Northern Virginia area, and I work in politics. And
kind
shocking. Instagram has been a nice outlet to just kind of have a creative way to connect with other people. And honestly, a year ago, my husband and I bought our first home, a 1935 stone home in Alexandria.
That's gorgeous.
We feel very fortunate. We love it. And what we've really loved is finding ways to decorate it. Well, I should say we. What I really love is finding beautiful antiques.
But he gets to appreciate.
He gets to live in it every day.
Exactly.
So win-win. So yeah, it's just been a fun way to document kind of my little DIY projects and different decor ideas as things have been moving along. I've made some curtains, actually using your china. It's a shocking idea from millennials.
I know, I love it. Always use your china and your silver.
Exactly.
I mean, we have such similar styles and actually both have the same wedding china. Shout out to Royal Crown
Derby with Crown Gold. We've got good taste, ladies. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll set our icing aside.
Okay.
And we'll get to that in just a minute.
Perfect.
So what you're going to do, like I was saying, you want to have this dish towel ready to go when you get it out of the oven. But also we need to prep it with some powdered sugar. Again, and perhaps this is a problem on this American house. I say more is more and less is a bore. That's not mine, I'm borrowing it.
No, but it's a good one to live by.
It's a good one to live by.
I agree.
So with powdered sugar, similarly, oh, she's gonna love this when the flip happens.
Guys, I can't wait for this.
You want to just douse it with powdered sugar. Honestly, again, the more the better. Spread it across. I promise I wash my hands at some point today. And this will be important because then once you're finished with the actual bread, it'll be have a nice little powdered sugar coating too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if this is still hot. Nope, it's okay. All right. So we'll see how this flip works considering we had to do a little TV magic.
Okay,
remember,
so this is key.
Yes, this is an important part. This is where you either make it or break it. So remember earlier when I said to leave a little of the wax paper, you do that so you can fold it back like this. All right, this is the part I maybe didn't quite warn stuff about.
Oh, no.
Get ready for the cloud of powdered sugar.
There we go.
All right. Dump it out. Come on.
Oh, it kind of worked.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
Wow. You guys, that is incredible. If y'all can't see, there's like a powder of confectioner's sugar. Like,
It's a cloud.
blooming. It's, yeah.
Around this time of year, my
Pretty
house
terrific.
is essentially always, it's just a coat of powdered sugar because I make these all the time.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to start making these. I'm excited.
It's a fun, and again, like it's pretty simple. So this is where it was really important to wax your, to grease your wax paper on the top and the bottom. Allows for an easy flip. And now, as you can see, you want to very carefully peel the paper back. Now, it looks like I did it just perfectly this time. We may actually be able to get it the whole way off.
Ooh.
So after
That is
peeling that, now one thing that'll happen sometimes
No pressure.
is that on the edges especially, it may stick. And that's totally fine because the edges, you're going to cut them off at the end to make it pretty. So if it sticks a little, you can't get the paper off, just cut it. It can be any size you want. So now that we have the bread, as you see, it's just a baked piece of bread. You see how pretty the powdered sugar goes.
Oh, wow. And it's, you can bend it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking a cake. But yeah, I get how you
so
roll
thin,
it.
because it's so thin.
Yeah.
So this is the important part of rolling.
Okay. And you want to do this while it's hot, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't need to cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
You need to do this as soon as you get it out of the oven, or a couple minutes, it's fine. Because when you roll it while it's hot, essentially that's what creates your shape. That's the roll.
Oh, okay.
So with the dish towel, you just roll it.
Okay.
All right, and this is where you have to be patient and set it aside on a baking rack or cooling rack.
And how long do we set it aside for?
Like half an hour. I usually go a little longer. Depends on how patient you can be. But since we have TV magic,
Yeah, we have one that's
we are ready to go.
Cooled and cooled.
Yep. So
We'll
we'll
let
see.
you take that.
We'll see how it unrolls. But this essentially just allows it's not going to look that impressive yet, but doing it allows it to roll back a little easier. So I'm going to do the icing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. I don't trust myself.
I'm going to try to fight you with the spatula.
I know, this looks so good. Wow. And so this one, it obviously looks like you can cut it into different sizes if you wanted to.
Exactly. So actually, last Christmas, for our first Christmas in our new home, this was what I gave our neighbors as a little Christmas happy. Made a lot of the logs. It was a little, I like to call a pumpkin roll a log. Like this was one big log.
Yeah, I think
I was a little ambitious. I probably made like 7 of them and then cut them into halves and thirds. And you can wrap them up in cellophane and tissue paper. And I put a little ornament on it and gave them to our neighbors.
Cute. I love that. That's such a good thing to do.
Well, this is perfect that we're talking about this right before Thanksgiving because obviously pumpkin. I am one who, I'm sorry Thanksgiving, I'm decorating for Christmas this morning. I love Christmas. My mom and I think we should move Thanksgiving up a couple weeks so that we get Christmas season even longer.
I support that. It's 1 month just isn't enough.
It just isn't. It never is. But this is something that while it's technically, I guess, a pumpkin fall thing, it really works throughout the holidays. The same seasonings of vanilla, cinnamon, like it works year round, really. Yeah, well, definitely this time of year.
Probably do it with gingerbread, maybe, if you want to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So that's actually a really good point.
Really
you totally can mix this up. I know we talked earlier about mixing up in the icing. You could do almond extract, things like that.
Orange extract.
See, that's fancy. That's where you get into trouble that I don't have that in my kitchen.
Oh, no.
Maybe here at Magnolia Stripes they have that. So you can really mix it up. Yeah, you could do this with different kinds of breads too. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I love this.
And I love techniques are the same.
I love this. I love the roll idea. I think it's gonna look so pretty. I'm excited to see what it looks like.
I hope it works out well. I'm just, again, don't waste any of this icing, guys. You want to use it all. And see, it's kind of ugly right here, but trust me, when we roll it, It's gonna have a much better look.
It looks so good though.
So, and what you wanna do once you're rolling it up, you wanna make sure you're actually rolling it from the same side so that it keeps its shape.
Oh, smart.
So now this actually is a part that can get tricky because your bread is a little moist. As you can see, this is a little wet.
Ooh, yeah.
It could break. Now, don't freak out if it gets a little break in the bread. Don't worry, you can cover it up with icing or sugar.
Like
or,
so.
or you can even just slice it up and serve it in slices at a party.
I love that. You know, sometimes guests need a little bit of a starter too. I feel like you never really
want to
be
be the person to cut it.
Exactly. Yeah, it really helps. Okay.
All right, so this is where we can actually see, this is what I think about this recipe is so cool, that a lot of times if you're making breads, unless it's a muffin of course, you don't really get to taste it before you give it to somebody, so you're not really sure if it worked out.
Yeah.
The great thing about this is you get to have a taste test while you're making it pretty, and it's a benefit to your potential future guests as well as to yourself. So what you do is you cut off that rough end.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
And there you go. You've got the actual pretty end of the pumpkin roll.
Oh, and
Steph, if you'll do the honors.
Simple here. That is so good. That icing in the center is amazing.
And it's kind of pretty, huh?
It's like fall in a little roll. That is so good. You guys have to make this.
That's how I cut myself a bigger end.
I know. What happened here?
But you can keep making this pretty too by putting a little more powdered sugar on the top, some crushed nuts, any number of things.
Yeah.
So the recipe, you can even put walnuts or pecans in the bread as you're baking it.
Oh, that would be so good. I love it. Well, guys, we will be posting this online. So be sure and visit www.magnoliastripes.com and give Sarah Lloyd a follow at This American House on Instagram. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thanks.